Americans today pride themselves on the idea of the separation of church and state. But was there ever an idea of a Christian American soldier? For this video, I will explore 3 primary source documents from the 7 Years' War in an attempt to discover the virtues of a Christian soldier in the 18th century. The first document is a sermon delivered on September 21st, 1755, by Reverend Samuel Checkley, pastor of Boston's historic New South Church. The sermon was delivered to colonial American soldiers marching to Crown Point, the inaugural battle of the French and Indian War. Checkley paints a biblical panorama, comparing the Indians to the Canaanites, the Americans to the Israelites, and the French to the Romans. His image of the Christian soldier is one who fights justly in the face of aggressive savagery, establishes Zion, and counters the treachery of the Antichrist. He explores 3 core virtues of the soldier: justice against cruelty, the power of prayer in times of crisis, and the call to worship God even when faced with unknowable tragedy. He requests that Christian soldiers be grounded in the fear of God, apply the virtue of Christ's sacrifice to their behaviors, and be sanctified or changed by the Holy Spirit. The second document is an obituary written in 1760 for Brigadier General James Wolfe by James Pringle, a Scottish baronet, professor of philosophy at Edinburgh University, and frequent dinner companion to Benjamin Franklin. Unlike Checkley's sermon, Pringle's short memorial to the late, quote, conqueror of Canada begins with a prayer to God, but ends by equating Wolfe with the Theban general Epaminondas, as well as with Judas Maccabeus, the spiritual liberator of Israel against the Seleucid Empire. Pringle states that duty is not bound by necessity, but rather by choice to serve, that he doesn't fight out of fear, but rather for the sake of others, and that he is always engaged with a disciplined mind. He is teachable, able to take commands, and performs not out of pride, but in the confidence of his ability. The Christian soldier fights without ambition, avarice, or vice. He fights for the rights and liberties of mankind. The third and final document is a poem written by George Cockings in 1762, a little-known playwright and poet who worked at the Adelphi, or what is today known as the Royal Society of Arts. Cockings never mentions God. Although he describes the British forces as the mighty men of David, and Wolfe to Samson, who, quote, flung proud Dagon's temple down. For Cockings, the entire war was a panoply of Grecian drama, an epic struggle between Britannia and the Gallic forces of evil. He refers to Jove as the maker, the generals of the British army as Apollo and Neptune, and the soldiers of the British forces as Trojan heroes. For Cockings, the British won the war with, quote, Britannia's rage, their overwhelming technology that split the sky in two, and the blessing of Jupiter. Much like today, the British Empire not only had Christians, but also those who were not. For Cockings, not only was Christ a non-entity, but the war was won purely on the grit of the Brits and the, quote, fierceness of their glow. For many, the Christian soldier was an ever-present hope for the destiny of the colonies. But for others, they lived a life without faith and hope, staking their futures on dreams built through violence and hubris.